All right, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of S.H.A.D.E.S Talks the podcast. Today, our topic is life after 40. And, guys, we are living it as it took us 2 hours just to hit the record button.
2 hours and 19 minutes.
Yes, just to hit the record button, y'all. So, wow. Today's topic, life after 40. I am one of your co-hosts, Michelle with the MI.
I'm China.
Emily,
Michelle, and me.
and I'm Sheba.
Yes. So finally, we are definitely missing our last co-host, which is Lashana, but she had a very eventful week over there in Grenada. So shout out to Lashana. So y'all, we are talking about life after 40. What's your first thoughts?
I
Slow.
can't get my clothes that I used to fit when I was 40.
You can't fit your clothes.
Yeah, well.
Got it. My first thought is we slow to death. Okay. Slow to death.
We used to be better with this technology stuff.
No, we didn't
No.
have so much technology.
No.
Yeah,
We
that's-
didn't have so much technology.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So I get it. Clothes don't fit. We slow to death. Anybody else? What comes to mind?
Can't find stuff. Put stuff in bags that are not ours. And we still can't find it.
Like how I just zipped my phone up
Yeah.
in somebody
Yes,
else's bag and then was
ma'am.
like, "Where's my phone?" Like,
That part.
all right, cool. So
But
I want
you know what? I
Mhm.
do want to say everybody's going into everything that's like we're missing or whatever, but there are good parts to being over 40. Like,
Absolutely.
I don't give two shits
to.
That's good.
I'll make sure to check the explicit.
about people's opinions. I have grown comfort in myself, and I'm definitely on it is what it is. It is what it is. And I wasn't okay with that when I was younger. I really wanted things to be what they weren't, and now I'm like, it is what it is.
Mm.
I got one. The
Mhm.
kids are actually really gone.
For real.
And that's only some of us. Me and Emily not empty nesters.
We're
I
not
think-
there yet.
Not there. I got a long ways. Real long ways. I wouldn't. Yeah.
But you know what though? I keep saying, Sheba, you was almost free.
All
girl.
right. Free.
She was almost there.
As LaShawna say, I almost got my AARP card.
Exactly. So let's talk about that. Like, are we really ready for AARP?
Right.
You know what?
I want
They
every
sent me-
discount I can get a hold
So,
of.
yeah, Absolutely.
I still
I
don't
only-
use it. And y'all know I've been in there in that way past 40 and for some years. Every time I see something come in the mail from AARP, I'll be like, no.
Discounts to me. I would
Yeah, that's
definitely
those
use them.
discounts.
I would definitely use them.
Well, one thing I love about us living this life over 40 is that we are still very youthful.
I agree.
Right. And I think that's important as you continue to age, right? Whether you cross over into 50 is to remain youthful. Like we were just talking, right, about the whole dating thing, Well, y'all are all married
Right.
except for me. The Michelles are not married. Right.
But
But we want a man that's youthful. Like I don't want you pulling up to my house in a damn Buick. Like
Not a Buick.
Avalon.
wait. Or, no, I can't go there, but I will say this, Michelle. So I have this friend that's looking, right?
mm-hmm.
And swears he can get down. Saw me at some party and that's that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I decide, okay, I got nothing to do. Let me go out. Went out, and when he showed up in an Uber, which is fine,
Okay.
But then I said, okay, you want to experience what I do? I was going to teach a salsa class. So I'm teaching the salsa class, and everybody else is dancing, and he's sitting down. He's 70. So he's sitting down, and I'm like, dude, what you doing?
You don't think 70 is too old to date?
Oh, no. Mm-mm. You got some youthful 70s?
Where?
I have met some youthful 70s. I have been getting out of my comfort zone because I was bored. So in being bored, I'm like, I'm not gonna not I'm not gonna not give somebody else a chance just because they got a 7 in front. They got a 7 in front of them.
I
mean, I do know there are some women, like for instance, my auntie, she is like 76 and fabulous.
See?
And she looks like she is roughly about maybe 50, 55. And when I say she will dance you off that dance floor, and I was like, I can't keep up, auntie. I just cannot. And I'll just be looking at her and she really be moving. But I don't see no men doing that at 70. And they just be younger.
Yeah.
So what is the threshold? Let me just ask that. For you, let's say, because these are married people, except for you and I.
Except for us.
My threshold, let me see, I'm 49. I can probably say I think somewhere between 50 and 55 if I'm gonna go older is my threshold.
But I'm there at that 55 mark.
Okay.
So I'm 40. What am I? 30. See, I forgot because you told me to stop counting.
Stop saying it.
You
Right.
told me to stop counting.
Uh-huh.
So I'm at 54.
Mm-hmm.
So my threshold, really, honestly, I would say 60. But I was bored, so that was why I went out.
I'm just trying to figure out how to say. Like, what did he say? Like, what's his lines?
I'm sorry.
It wasn't a line. It was just trying to take you out. It was just, hey, can we do lunch or something? It was that easy.
Yeah, I'm out here looking 17. I don't want to. I don't need nobody out here looking like a child molester. Okay? I don't care what you look. But let me stop because I am married to a younger man, so.
I mean, I'm into the younger dudes too. It's just that I just have a low tolerance too, though.
I do
for the BS.
I do.
Me
dating at 40 plus. Thank goodness.
You don't want to be there.
Honey,
you don't.
Like what time does your dates end? Like, I mean, because I know for me, as I got older, at 10 o'clock, I was like, okay, right. I'm in the bed.
She right. No,
maybe 10:30. So what time is your date? Because if we out on a date 12 o'clock, I'm yawning. Like, how long? Over 40? I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, I agree, especially if I went to work that day.
Exactly. Like, I'm literally going to have to take a 5 hour to stay up.
Well, the 70-year-old's threshold is 8 o'clock. And that's too young for me. I mean,
to start or to end?
No, to end.
So what time did y'all date? At 3?
No, we had gone out, and it was when I was teaching. I believe it was 6 p.m. So by 8:30, when we were done, he was tired. He was like, "Oh, take me home," and asked me to tie his shoe. Wait, and asked me to tie his shoe.
Michelle, we can stop. You don't want to continue on with this conversation.
All right. I don't even know how we got there. I don't know how we got there.
I have no idea.
I don't know how we got there.
Okay, wow.
But going out at night, I think that is an over 40 thing. The other night, my girlfriend, she had a birthday party, and it started, I want to say, at 8. So they said. So I said I was gonna be late. Honestly, I was in the house and it was like 6:30. I was like, I don't know about this. I have not actually left my house after the sun went down in so long that it seemed crazy to me. Like I was really pulling all I had. Like,
because usually really we're out before that.
Yeah, I mean, stay out,
right.
Get in my car and leave. The sun is already down. This is not a good formula in Stone Mountain. So, but this is the time I go out there and I get to the party. I call myself, I'm supposed to be fashionably late. It's like 8:40. And then we get a text from the birthday girl saying she ain't gonna be there till 10 o'clock. I live 40 minutes away. That's not gonna work out for me. I'm tired already. I wasn't even gonna come. So I'm like, okay, stay positive. I did have a really good time, and I went to this place. I don't go out, I'm married. We work, whatever. So we go to this place, and I hadn't been out in a long time, and it really dawned on me. I have not been to a club or get together. So this is the neighborhood hangout, apparently, but it's the neighborhood hangout for people over 40.
Where was it? Yeah. I probably know.
It was Dudley's on Saturday night in Stone Mountain.
Did she say Dudley's?
Dudley's. Yes.
That part.
So everybody's over 40, and it was very interesting. Okay. First of all, the body shapes. So I'm like, the fashion. Another thing. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
You
Was
know,
there a lot of leopard skin.
it wasn't that. You know, I
Snake
think
skin
that we have to
shoes,
ask ourselves, like, no. See, that's
Okay.
old. These are people who are shaped like grown people,
Okay.
dressing like they're in New York in the 2000s. So you still have the hats and the what do you call it, the like leather-in jackets or the leather jackets,
Girl, I
chains or whatever. But then they have a beer belly, or a man would have like a larger belly or what have you. So it's like they didn't really change their style.
Mhm.
So they weren't like, they
were just
didn't look
kinda
like
stuck there.
pimps.
They were stuck in the 20s.
They were just stuck there and nobody rescued
I'm
them.
so
But it's a
glad
hard,
I'm not
or shiny men with shiny stuff is
Like
different.
what?
Shiny what? You better not
Like
tell me no
teeth?
shiny pants.
Like gold
No shiny
Like
liquid
gold teeth.
pants.
Come on now.
No, like gold lettering on their shirts and different things like that. And it's like, okay, you out here, you got on cologne. I see it. I see you.
Wait, speaking
I
of
don't know.
cologne, was it old
No,
cologne?
I mean,
Was it fruit?
It was fruit.
Old
Fine
Spice.
variety.
And I don't want to make fun of people because everybody had a really good time. They
Sure.
came out as clean as they could, but we're not shaped the same. We're not young.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
our moves don't look exactly the same. So when you hear "Ooh, baby, baby" come on the stereo and you run to the dance floor, you don't look the same way you did when Get Up on This just came out.
Not get up on this.
Right.
Because you take it back.
Right. Not salt and pepper. Get up on this.
I know what you're talking about.
So
Get up
it's just
on
it just was a reality check because everybody was having a good time. Everybody seemed to be as clean as they could, hair done. They put effort into themselves. I'm not gonna say that they didn't, and it was a really good time. I had one of the best times I've had in a long time. It made me realize, like, wow, I haven't been out like this in a long time. And I had a good time. The chicken wings were very good. They were very tasty.
That's our go-to.
Yes,
chicken wings.
the DJ was great.
We was at Denny's.
But it was like,
They
just
do.
looking around the room, I'm like, wow, so I am grown because
this is your new vibe.
and then you only see the world from out of your eyes, and you may walk past the mirror or whatever, but honestly, you're probably looking like everybody else. You're not as shapely as you used to be.
Right.
You're not as cool. Your moves are not the same, and you've yawned because it's 11 o'clock now. You know what I'm saying? So
now,
it can't always be like them. It's us too.
No, I agree. We're right along with them probably. But I honestly think that we again are a very youthful over 40 in terms of us, the shades. But it's funny that you speak about the whole body types that you saw, right? Because a lot of people are getting a lot of work done to themselves over 40. Not saying that it's a good or a bad thing. My thing is, if you gotta do it, if that's what you want to do it. But just like they're kind of stuck in time, are we kind of stuck in time? Like, remember when we was looking at the pictures earlier, we was like, oh, remember when I used to be that skinny? Like, those were just times that we miss, and we don't realize it until we see those old pictures.
Or sometimes we feel like we were fat then, and then we look back and we're like,
No, I wasn't
I thought I
fat.
was fat, but
I'm
look how
fat now.
small
I'd
I
give
am.
to be a size
Yes.
8, right? I'd give to be a
Exactly.
size 8. But how do we embrace our body image, right? Like me personally, I just buy my clothes to fit my body image, so I still look good. I still turn 25 every year, right? Because it's not that I don't care. I do want to go to the gym, but y'all, it's just getting there.
What I had to do, because I went through a really hard time when I started gaining weight, which I am almost twice the size that I used to be. And even if you decide you're going to work out and you're going to eat right and all this, whatever change you're going to have, it's not going to happen tomorrow. So you have to love the skin you're in during your whole journey. And I had to just accept, like, hey, this is it. And I have to appreciate my body. I have to appreciate the changes. Also appreciating a grown woman's body, because although being thin is nice, there's something to an adult body. If it's in shape, especially, it looks really good. It's an adult body. It's sensual, it's sexual. It's beautiful. But it's about what you ingest. So if you're constantly looking at 20-year-olds and you're constantly looking at bodycon dresses and stuff like that that are not going to look at you, then you're gonna be like, oh, I need to buy this, and then you're gonna be like, this does not look like it did in the model. When you don't look at the model. And so I do appreciate a lot of brands are actually changing things. So you go into Fenty and you can say, hey, you know what, you showing me a B cup chick, I have a G. So what she's happening, I can't believe that this little bra is going to hold up these things. So I want to see
and
it
look
in
the
my
same.
size. If you're, I do that with most of the places that I buy online. I'll go and Google or go through the ads. And if I see a skinny girl, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm trying to see, how does this fabric lay across a belly? Okay. A belly like mine. And if I can see like, oh, I could see her belly button, that's not going to be it for me. Next, this ain't it for me. So I try to really ingest people who are looking like me. There's nothing wrong with people who don't look like me, but it is a beautiful time that we are seeing, you know, black hair on magazines. We're seeing thicker girls and we're seeing more mature women. I want to see a mature, thicker woman in something and find that sensual. So I went through this phase where I started just following thick, curvy girls on Instagram, and I just started ingesting them. I'm like, she feels sexy. She looks sexy. I know I can feel sexy. I can look sexy. So I'm now in competition, or not competition, but, you know, in league with them. And so I feel good. It was hard when I'm in league with a 20-year-old who I'm not going to look like again. And that's okay. So changing your diet of what you're pulling into your mind is also going to help.
But not everybody is okay though.
Yeah, for me, mine was a little bit different. I mean, as Michelle said, she didn't really go to the gym. Me, myself, I started going to the gym just to kind of just stay in shape. I wasn't trying to be like no bodybuilder, nothing like that. Mine was just really for health reasons. And I felt myself going to the gym. And then for Life Over 40, I had a baby after 40. So I was still, and then I went back into the gym. And then what do you know? I had a C-section. So a C-section, they basically have cut your muscles. So therefore, guess what I have? I have a kangaroo pouch, a whole fupa. So I was like, okay, this gym situation, I'm going 5 times a week, then sometimes 6 times a week, and an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes going twice a week. In the same 2 times in the same day. So I told my husband, I was like, babe, look at this fupa. Look at this. This ain't going nowhere. Everything else look good, but this fupa is still here.
This man said he love it.
Also,
That's what
because you know, my son did that. I was not pleased with that. That was just for self. So me, myself, I am one of the ones that I was like, you know what? I want this gone. So I decided to go ahead and have a tummy tuck for self. And I was like, okay, we're going to see how this works. So I went ahead and had a tummy tuck, and I was like, okay, the fupa is gone. Everything else I've grown into. I'm not skinny, but I'm not thick, I'm not fat, but I have a shape. And the fupa is gone. And I was like, okay, back into the gym. I recently just went back to the gym. So we'll see what the results are going to be moving forward. But that was my situation.
But I think you got your tummy tuck not because you were trying to follow a trend and I think that's what we see a lot of times. Like there was this whole movement of this whole BBL movement, you know what I mean? Like you see the girls with the juicy booties
out here trying to look like Emily.
Right, out here trying to look like Emily. Emily got it naturally, okay? Naturally. But I think it was just a trend, and I think, you know, some people hopped on that trend, but for you it was just you want. I don't think there was a lack of love for yourself. I just think this was an issue that you wanted to fix, and the gym wasn't fixing it.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that, you know, being over 40, you realize that when you're 20, you feel like your body takes care of itself. It doesn't, but that's how you feel. Like, hey, I can eat this. My metabolism will burn it in 2 hours. But once you're over 40, your body doesn't react that way. Everything you were eating at 20 that you probably wasn't supposed to be eating comes back to haunt you in your 40s.
Well, your metabolism is different.
It truly is. And then you go through menopause for some of us, and that's also playing a part of it. So 40s, just overall health is important, you know, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, just making sure that you are healthy because what happens with 40, everything becomes to deteriorate. Your bones deteriorate, which also teeth deteriorate. Your memory deteriorates. Your vision deteriorates. So, you know, and it makes you feel some kind of way about yourself. So it's not always feeling like, oh, I'm overweight, so I'm, you know, feeling self-conscious. My self-conscious comes with my memory. I really had a whole breakdown because I felt like my memory is not the same. I can't remember. And I know we joke about it. You know, we see clips and reels about it. But it really, because I was always that person that was on it. I was the person. Or Emily got it. Go ask Emily. So I was always that. And now it's like, I'm thinking and the words can't come out. I don't know where this is. I'm missing some dates. And it's really, it was embarrassing. So that was something I really had to deal with. So what do? You start talking to your doctor. And women over 40, Black women over 40, Hispanic women over 40, we have to be very strategic about who we choose as our physician because we're not heard. We're really not heard. And so we are dying faster because our doctors are not listening to us. So we need to listen to our bodies and be proactive when it comes to what our bodies desire and what our bodies need.
Let me ask you this, because that's interesting that you should say that, because I've always been an advocate for myself when I'm going to the doctor. And it seems that it would be beneficial, right? But what I found out is that anytime that I say something or I raise a question in regard to medicine or in regard to weight gain and even skin, my skin has changed. I cannot use the same soaps I use. I cannot eat some of the same food. I can't use the same detergent. And I brought that up to my doctors. And so in their little notes, they put things like, she asked too many questions.
Oh, no. How did you see that? Did they leave the room or something?
No, I saw it. You guys remember when I was sick back in 2017. So when I was denied Social Security, and you guys knew how sick I was, when I was denied Social Security because they said that I could do, I could just go get another job. But when I actually went to fight for my rights and my money, the judge said that in the record that I never saw, she said, in the record, it says that you're not adherent to what the doctors are saying. It says that you're difficult. It says that you have a question about everything. I said, it says what?
They said that in the court of law?
I kid you. It was in my records.
Oh,
and so they were able to get my records because they had to be able to use that as a determination, to determine if I was eligible. But what the kicker of that was, you guys, when you get past a certain age, you're at risk for shingles. So I asked the judge, do you know how painful shingles is? She says, my husband just had it. This is a Caucasian woman. So my husband just has it. Oh, I see how painful it is. And yeah, they've given him medicine. I said, yeah, well, they didn't give me medicine. And I've had it 4 times. And I said, and so when I've had it, I've talked to the doctor and said, hey, I think this is shingles. Can you give me something? And they tell me they have nothing to do. They can't give me anything. But your husband got treatment. And I bet you he hardly said anything. And she said, she thought to herself, and she said, yes. I said, so now we're looking at a Black woman here that stands up for herself and that just says, hey, I think this is going wrong. And so with that said, she looked at me and she said, I understand. I said, yeah. I said, so it's with everything. And then they put that in the record just because I asked questions. But I bet you your husband didn't have that problem. But as a result of what I said, she went back in that record and she said, I will grant you what you asked for. And I got it. But I would have never known it was in my record. I never would have known it was in my record. And these are doctors that I trusted. So it's like, what do you do? So I mean, as a Black woman, yeah.
That's wow. I don't think I ever knew that. I think that we become some people, I've noticed, like when we cross that threshold of over 40, that you feel as if your words should be silenced. But I feel like this is the time, and I encourage anybody listening, that this is the time when you need to fight for what you believe in. And truly, we probably should have been fighting 30 years ago, right? For different rights. For a doctor to put that in your records, like for me, I go back and slap the shit out that doctor. But I'm just playing. But okay, I'll zip that out. But anyway. but
Did you say what?
right.
Because that's permission.
Right, but I feel like when we become older, it's like that mental thing, whereas you don't want to be looked at like, okay, they think that I'm just going to sit back in a corner and be quiet, right? When you shouldn't. You should, I think, after when you cross that threshold of 40, you should be speaking louder. Right, you should be speaking to the correct people. If you're not the person I need to speak to, then who do I need to go to speak to? Who's your boss, or whatever the case may be. And especially in terms of just when it comes to your health, right? It's very important that you fight for the things that you need, because to Emily's point, Black women are dying faster. We're not getting the care that we need. And for these over 40-year-olds having babies and everything, you definitely need to
absolutely need to outlive at least until they get out to 18 years old.
Exactly. So we talk about, our health, right? And being better, right? What makes you be better though? Outside of health, what is it for you?
It's this I don't give a F attitude that I got that's working for me.
It's
winning for me. Just learning to be comfortable, learning to be quiet, learning that you don't always have to be the center of. I think that's really important. I am seeing aging happening in my family, and I have very vibrant people in my family who always needed to be the center of attraction. And just for me, I'm just like, okay, embracing who I am, embracing where I am, because it can be difficult. I think all of us are around young people, probably our children. Even though some of us have small kids, they still have 20-year-olds or 20-something-year-olds. And they will try all they can to make you feel old and out of date.
Well, they can try.
You wearing that?
Try.
Mom. Those jeans, I don't like them. You didn't like the ones I had on yesterday either. Nobody's wearing those anymore. So they make you feel small or whatever. And you'll be surprised. You feel like a high school kid that somebody's made fun of. And it's really just your kids telling you how out of date, out of style. Nobody's doing this. Nobody uses that phrase. Who's doing that? Who's listening to that? Who's doing this and that? So you just have to be really on, leave me alone.
So
I don't care. This I don't give a F. That's where I'm at.
So that's your be better. What about you, Sheba? What's your be better?
Vacationing. It's a peace of mind. Get up from no kids. Sometimes no husband.
Just depends on what's popping off.
Sometimes a husband. But for me it's vacation. That's always a peace of mind. Preferably somewhere where I can just sit on the beach, enjoy just looking at the sunset.
Interesting.
Yes.
Emmy?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I hate to say this is the first time, y'all know y'all traveled with me for many years, and I kind of would get really mean and testy at the end of vacation because I didn't want to come home. And I just came back from Grenada. I was there for 8 days. And I wasn't in a rush to go home, but I was okay with going home because I have finally started to create the life that I want, as opposed to being in survival mode with kids and all this kind of thing, which I know 2 of you guys are still there. Where my life is comfortable, whether I'm on vacation or not. So vacation is lovely, but also I didn't mind coming home because my life is pretty and nice. So
and good.
Yeah, it's good. I'm comfortable. I'm good. So it's like, I think finally being at 40 and starting to address your life and making it what you want it to be instead of what it has to be to accommodate everybody else in your life. That makes a big difference.
Got it. Emmy, what's be better for you?
Be better is loving me. I, for a long time, I did not love me. I did not love my skin. I did not love my feet. I did not love my hair. Everything I did not love. And so in past 40, and for me, past 50, I actually do love me. I love me. I used to not want to lay in the bed. And now I lay in bed till 7. I mean, but to me, that's a lot.
That's still early.
We know I love to travel.
Yes.
Right, that's still early. We know I love to travel. But when I'm traveling, that is really where I get my peace. because there's an energy when I step off of a plane and see that sun, I see that water, that gives me inspiration to keep going, even when everything might be chaotic. So I'm learning how to deal with me, maybe my issues, and some other people's issues. I've let them deal with their issues instead of taking it out, taking everything and ingesting it. So for me, loving me means really, really delving into the things that I like and continuing in that manner.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I love that. What's be better for you?
Be better for me would be focusing on myself by setting goals and plans. If there's an area that I feel I need improvement in, obviously I go into prayer. I also set a realistic plan and, goal setting. And, 9 times out of 10, I achieve it, and I like the improvement. I'm one who constantly likes to improve herself because I feel like there's always a better version of yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah, so.
Well, be better for me is, I think, a collaboration of everything that you guys have said, and it's being selfish. For so long, I've always had to think about my daughter, think about my niece and nephew, my sisters. It's always everybody else. And for the first time, I'm realizing that it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to focus on yourself and take a trip. It's okay to go grab something to eat because you don't feel like cooking. I mean, so being selfish, y'all won't understand the piece behind that until you get over 40. But being selfish, I think, is a collaboration of everything that we said. One thing that I'm also doing, and I want to kind of chat with you guys about it, is, and it's actually on one of the topics that we have here, is understanding who you are and really diving into your purpose, your passion, and your purpose. Are you guys actively doing that? Like me, I'm doing stuff that I don't even know if it's my purpose, but it's just so fun to do with the whole digital thing. I feel like I am 25. I turn 25 every year, but I feel like I'm really in that generation of just like Emily, like you said, learning something new. Have you guys discovered your passion?
I've definitely done that. I'm always delving into the improvement process, what Em said. I go to so many self betterment, self help classes, and also classes that will help me in my lifetime.
Honey, is this 70-year-old at this class? Any of these classes?
Nah.
I just can't get over this 70-year-old. But go ahead.
I go by myself a lot, but I get back so much knowledge and so much understanding that what I found is that my purpose, is really to help someone else along their journey, especially someone who has experienced a lot of the same things that I have, where they may have thought that they can't, that they can't live, they can't be better, they can't, and then they'll look at me and they'll think, oh well, it looks like she's got it all together. It looks like she's this and she's all of this, and not really. But what I am is I'm a survivor. I'm a fighter, and I do all of these things just by going through life. And then I'm able to show other people, girl, come on, you can still make it. You can still make it. I know you think it's the end, but you can still make it. So I think that in some instances, to show someone, either by example or through what God has told me to do or say. And in some instances, it's really just to be quiet and allow someone to make mistakes and just be there.
Being still.
Right.
I like that. Now, I know, China, your passion and your purpose has been something that you have battled with.
I think I've done what I've come to do. So
Okay, it's the I don't give a F. I mean, it's the whole thing today. Okay.
It's so bad because I came to Emmy had a birthday party and people are introducing themselves like, oh, I want to help the world, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I did what I came to do. I spent the better part of 20 over 20 years giving back. So I had that purpose. And I felt like I did the damn thing. I have given back. I have sowed into lives. I have helped somebody. Somebody is better because of me. You know, I did that. So I'm good on that. This season of my life is more about peace. So, you know, even with how I want to earn money, on this season of my life, I was just telling this to a young lady who lost her job. Instead of just saying to myself, like, what do you want to do? What kind of job? What would you be good at? I said, what are the goals that you want to have? I don't want to be tied to my phone. I want something that closes, it closes. You know, when I'm off, I'm off. I want to have my own time, and I don't want to be stressed out. So, and I want to create residual income in what I do. So then I chose, you know, things to do for that. So I worried more about my goals than what my purpose is, because I am past 40. I retired from doing those things that were my purpose. I did that. So that's a check. I'm good. So now I'm like, okay, what are my goals? I want to have residual income. I do want to keep my mind sharp. So I think the human beings are made to have obligation. If you don't have obligation, then, you know, I'm seeing it. You can get depressed, you get sad, you have no reason to get out of bed. You have to have community, you have to have obligations. So I want to have something where I have a little bit of obligation, but then I also have the freedom to go around. So I'm not moving in purpose. I do have a lot of passions. I'm also delving. I feel like hobbies so important. Doing things just because you like them is so important, and I'm doing them. I've got my garden in, I've got my artwork, I've got my, you know, my crafts and all that. I am doing traveling. So I'm real full on what I want to do, but I'm not running around in passion and purpose. Like, I'm done with that.
Sheba, what about your passion and purpose?
I think I might be still trying to figure that out.
Really?
Yeah, because for me, it's a lot that I feel like that I do, but then I feel like I'm not doing enough. For one, I mean, for me, I love fashion. I love styling. I enjoy doing that. I like how I do it for other people or whatever, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman. At the same time, I'm involved into the church. My father's a pastor, so I take over the youth kids. I do different stuff with them. As far as like, oh, let's do a movie night. Oh, okay, we're gonna do this, and they be like, oh, Miss Floyd, let's do this, or let's do that. Then, you know, I recently with my son's football team, I'm involved in that. Snacks, assessments, looking at, okay, can you get the schedule together? Okay. So for me, I don't know. I'm just still trying to figure it out. Then my husband, I'm trying to be supportive with him with his comedy and stuff. I was like, maybe you can do this, or maybe you can do that, or whatever the case may be. So for me, I'm still trying to figure it out.
It sounds like you're at a place though where it's not selfish. You're still doing for others.
I am.
That's what happens when you had kids. When you have geriatric kids.
Selfish season.
I'm still definitely doing for everybody, and I don't mind. I mean, I think I've always done that. Kind of, sort of.
You don't mind until you realize you don't have to.
Yeah.
At that point, I haven't got to that point. I probably got a couple more years. Well, maybe 20, 18.
Couple more decades.
Okay.
Thanks.
I mean,
Thanks, sis.
I don't even think your kid in middle school yet.
And when the kids have kids, they want you to.
Yeah, so I think I'm still trying to definitely like figure that out. But I think for me that I've always loved is fashion. I don't think nobody can really take that away from me, because that's something that I just really just enjoy doing, or whatever the case may be. So
I feel like there's something in that for you, but I think that you have to identify that, because like just listening to you talk, it's like fashion and you like helping people, right? It would be so cute to have a pop-up shop for people or women who are in need with clothes donated from all of your fabulous friends.
I'll host it. Let's do it here. If you want to have a day,
okay.
I'm down.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
Great idea. Okay, let's get together. We can get some
so it still is a combination of what you do, but it's still fulfilling for you, and it's your purpose.
Mhm.
Like, because I get that your purpose is that you want to help other people, right? You help your church, you help your children. But to be honest with you, helping your children, that's your responsibility. You can go to jail if you don't do it. County will come and pick you up, okay?
They claim I don't feed them back.
Okay, see, so
That is the word on the street.
you know, so I think that there's some fulfillment in getting outside of your little circle in Cobb and just kind of, you know, reaching out. You know, you have so many wonderful friends outside of the Shades who, just like us, probably got clothes with tags on them still in the closet. You know what I mean? And just being able to help this community, just where we are now, a community that's
because
full.
we do stuff I literally do stuff for the community out there, with my dad's church out there in Emerson. So basically, we did like a socks and coat drive for everybody. Then we went ahead and did like a whole little fashion show, whatever. I was like, okay, just putting different flyers out. So yeah, so that is true.
Well, I'm gonna throw this out there, a little cute little prom situation, because there's so many children who cannot afford to get prom dresses, and y'all know Haley got that prom dress in my closet that she only took pictures in because her prom was during COVID. So
Maya has her kids dress.
Yeah, okay.
So well, let's talk about that. I'll edit all this out, but I just felt that in my spirit. So
Emily,
So I have several passions, but if I have to pick my top one, it would definitely be marriages.
Which one locks into your purpose?
Yes.
Which one is it? Is
marriages.
It that one?
Yeah, I would think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching is, I think, what really locks into my purpose. And teaching families how to maintain healthy relationships. And I say marriages because I feel like that's where it starts, foundation, but basically family, healthy families. What does that look like? And that is definitely a passion of mine. You know, and there's dysfunction in every healthy family. You know, there's not a perfect family, but to know how to navigate that, I think is so important, because that is a generational assignment. You know, how you live your life today will impact your children, your children's children, your children's children's children. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna go into a message, but
Okay.
you know, but honestly, if we think about it that way, I think we'd be more apt to fight for our relationships, knowing that this is not a one-day assignment. This is not a today assignment.
Yeah.
This is not a third-year assignment. This is a generational assignment.
I like that.
And when you think of it that way, you're more apt to fight for your marriages. You're more apt to fight for that relationship with your daughter, with your son, you know, with their grandparents, because, you know, it's not about you. It's a kingdom purpose. You know, there's a purpose behind that. So as you can tell, I am extremely passionate about that. I think that it is a skill set. And I think many times we fail in relationships because we do not have the skills that we need to be purposeful in our relationships. Take communication. We think because we can speak, we're communicators, and communication is definitely a skill set that has to be learned. And we did learn it. We learned it from mom and dad. We learned it from screaming at each other, cussing at each other. We learned it from being passive aggressive. We've learned how to communicate, but have we learned effective communication? And if we do that, that's half the battle, really. You know.
So I'll ask the panel, what is the first step in doing what it is that y'all just explained that you're doing? Now, friend, China, I don't want you to feel obligated to answer this question because I already know you don't give a, okay? I already know, okay? But for these over here and myself, who we are still,
because what you really need to do is
right. We are still cultivating our pet. Like for me, I'm just discovering my passion. Like since my daughter went to school, it's like, oh, righty. So what do I like to do other than eat? Like my stomach is growling right now because I'm hungry. But what is it that
we
I
didn't
like
have
to
breakfast?
Do? We didn't have breakfast, friend. So you know. So, but we're kind of rediscovering ourselves. We're trying to understand, like, I feel like we all know what our passion is. We love to help people.
Absolutely.
We love to be cheerleaders for each other, and we love to see us win.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But in order to connect your passion with your purpose, what's the first step?
Okay, I know you said for me not to talk.
I didn't say me not to talk, friend.
But in a nice way, I really feel like the first step is giving yourself permission. It's giving yourself permission.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
So
Giving yourself permission to do what though?
to do whatever it is that because you've always had to put someone else first.
Yeah.
So you could not buy, you love expensive shoes. You should not have bought, some expensive old Gucci shoes and you had to pay for a field trip for Haley.
But they were so cute.
That would be a bad idea. But now, or you shouldn't have said, you know what, I'm going to spend 30 hours a week developing, the skill set when you had to take a child to dance practice and stuff like that. You never put yourself first. You didn't give yourself the permission. You always told yourself, no, be patient, wait, time yourself out, just do a little. So you've been constantly holding yourself back.
Yeah.
So now it's yes. You say you want something,
you
give yourself permission. You say it's okay. There's no one in your corner saying, well, that's not a good financial decision. If you feel it's a good financial decision, go for it.
Do it.
It's you're grown.
Me
So
personally,
really saying,
I feel like a good pair of Gucci heels that's timeless.
Heels my toe because the thing about being over 40, let me tell you, I had on heels for 35 minutes. I thought my foot was gonna burst. No, so get your cute heels if you want to, but the way my over 40 foot is working,
but just being okay to do that without guilt.
Without guilt, you don't owe anybody an explanation.
Correct.
You are taking care of yourself. You don't owe anybody any time. There are going to be people who may look and say, well, you mind your business. Okay. Giving yourself permission, I think, is the very first step.
I love that. I love that. Give yourself permission. What's the second step? Just do it.
Just
accepting the permission.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Scared, do it with failure.
That's what they're doing. Scared with failure. That be for me.
I think that's where I'm at. It's like I once a week I'm doing something. I honestly don't know what I'm doing some days, but I honestly believe that in the doing is all going to come together. I just can't stop doing because what happened is I've stopped doing twice prior, and you have to know yourself. Once I stop, it's a long time for me to grasp that momentum again. So if I stop, it's probably going to take another 3 months for me to get back on board. So I have dedicated I don't care what it is, Emily. Once a week, you have to do something towards wellness.
But let me tell you what happens when you don't do something, or when you don't do nothing. Nothing.
Yeah,
nothing from nothing.
I know I've been talking about a lot, but I do want to say this. This morning, I sent out a text. So it's 8:00 in the morning. I'm getting up. And I really didn't want to get up because I'm tired. But I did want to come here. And I was like, I asked all the girls, who's coming?
Yeah.
We all got the text. And I said, I want to see who's going to come. Because this is permission. Because I appreciate our producer, Michelle. But no, for real. Like, Emily said, her son said, oh, are you famous? Do you have your own show? Now we will put it off and we will say, oh, we can't because of this, or somewhere I got to go to church, or I got to go to, and I don't mean to pick anybody, but I got to do this. I got to do that. This is for you. This is about you. It's a picture of you. It's not a picture of your kids or your husband or whatever. This is for you. And I have heard in the past where we almost let something else seem like it was more important.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I was walking to my car today and I was like, I hope everybody recognized, number one, the opportunity that we have to come here and focus on ourselves.
Yeah.
Because everything else be about somebody else. This is just for us.
Yeah.
And I really hope that, and everybody showed up. Shauna, it's her birthday week and she's had a crazy week. So I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, but I am so glad that these ladies said, you know what? Yes, everything else has to be scheduled around this. And people were early on time. And that's a big thing.
Very big thing.
Because this is one of the things that just saying yes to, giving your permission to, telling the rest of your life, you know what, y'all schedule up around this one time a month that we get together. And I'm so proud to see you guys here. So I do want to bring that up. This is part of that.
Yeah.
And that's great for us. But again, knowing myself, because I'm a people pleaser, I'm going to do this. If you have a business, I'm going to support you. But for me, myself, I have a real hard time. I struggle because after I've done for everyone else, I'm so exhausted. I can't invest in the gift that God has placed before me.
Mhm.
So that's where I have to have the discipline to say, okay, Emily, this is not about you.
Mhm.
This ministry that God has given you has nothing to do with you. It's
Mhm.
about, the families and ministry and, generations. So it's a must.
Mhm.
And so I thank you guys for being that accountability and just say, okay, Emily, Michelle, you like, okay, what we doing today? I'm gonna give me a taco. You're not even married, but you're gonna sit in that marriage life group because you're
That's how I was thinking.
Right.
Right. And it's funny you should say that, because when I get off track, and I have gotten off track in my purpose and in my life, there'll be so many things that are coming down on me, and I won't want to get out of the bed. I just want to stay in the bed, pull the covers up. And what I've realized is, if somebody, one of my friends, well, I never used to let people in. So they didn't know that there was something going on. But this last time, right before this, the class, not the class, but the session we had before,
Mhm.
I was in that realm. I did not want to get out of bed, and my girlfriend called me at 8:30 in the morning, and I was like, I picked my head up. She did an Instagram sort of live with just she and I,
Mhm.
and when she did that, she was like, it's 8:30 and you're in the bed. What's going on? And I looked at her and I was like, well, what's
8:30
going on
in the
with
morning?
you? 8:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
And I was like, it's
It's
8:30 in the morning.
Right.
But I've usually
I'll
have
make it
done
singing.
so much by that time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, but you got a bathing suit on. I'm trying to figure out, what are you doing? And she says, well, I'm out in Mexico. And I said, I'm so happy for you.
Mhm.
I sure did.
Mhm.
And then she said, why aren't you? And why haven't you come? And I said, well, I got so much going on. And as Emily said, I got this going on, and this bill is happening, and this and this and this. And she said, stop. Didn't you create a system with what you're doing? Didn't you create a system so that you can have the freedom to work wherever you want? I said, yeah, I did. She said, great. So now it's time to do that. And then as we're talking, she said, yeah, so what day would you rather be out here if you could? And as I was thinking about it, I said, well, I couldn't do anything besides Friday. And she says, okay, well, what about Saturday? Yeah, I could do Saturday, not thinking anything of it. And then before we got off the phone, she says, oh, look in your email. You've got a ticket to come to visit me. So she took her frequent flyer miles and gave me her frequent flyer miles so I can go and meet her. Let me tell you, everything that was going wrong, I was like, I'm going to be on that plane. I'm going to be on that plane. I'm going to be on that plane.
Mhm.
I'm not letting anything stop me. And so that's what I did. And when I got there, the minute I stepped off that plane, I was like,
Yeah. But it's funny because you say, I notice I start my sentences off. It's funny,
funny.
but okay. But it's funny because you say that, and then I want to touch on something else too, is that you were under the covers, in your bed, at 8:30 in the morning. I think that's okay.
Mhm.
Again, we got to give yourself permission to rest. Now, if you stay there, that's where
that's what I
it
was
becomes
doing.
an issue.
It
If
had
you
been the
stay
third
in that
day
place.
for me. It had been the third day for me. And
Yeah.
that's not me.
Mhm.
And then as an entrepreneur, if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
Them bills do not get paid.
Yeah. Got it.
And so I
Understood.
knew what was going on, but I still could not get it together.
Understood. Now about this friend that sent you this good ticket. Aren't you glad that you surround yourself by rich friends? I mean, well, okay, they don't. They're still good friends though. It just so happens that all my friends are rich friends, right? I think that that's part of life over 42 because the same friends you had 30 years ago, with the
girl.
exception of y'all, I don't have them anymore. I think that's part of life after
Absolutely.
40.
Absolutely.
Not everybody's gonna be able to go with you.
No, ma'am.
That's true.
Right.
You don't even want everybody to go with you.
And you
And you can't sit at this
Truth
table
be
with me and
told,
Obama. Okay?
please.
You cannot sit at this table.
I've been on an active production of friendships.
Now this
for
one,
years.
okay. This one has been actively. I don't need no new friends.
No
I
new
got y'all.
I
Okay.
just made the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just made the cut.
What?
The fact
Boy,
that
it
she
started
was-
curving right after you, Emily. Right after you, it started curving.
That was it.
That circle started closing, baby.
And y'all know that China, she's specifically says, I don't like to hug. I don't like to, but she will do
We
it.
hadn't gotten into that in
I'm
this
just saying.
podcast. I don't know that yet.
But she does it. And you know what? Because you do it, I do it. Because she gave herself permission to do it, I do it. And I knew I was that person that don't hug me. Matter of fact, don't get too close.
Yeah.
I'm serious. And
but
so,
I feel like after 40 though, you have to do more for your friendships. You have to nurture them more.
Intentional.
You
have to be very intentional.
That's the word, intentional.
I'm finding actually very opposite. Actually, I was talking to Shauna. I'm sorry.
Because you have us as friends. That's
right,
why.
Exactly.
You don't have to work for us.
Right.
You ain't got to work for it no more.
I was telling Shauna, I said, okay, I got my hair done to go on a trip, and I went to Emily's house. And I walk in Emily's house, and it was quiet. What? First of all, right, exactly.
Never quiet.
We think that it's never quiet because we only come to our house to
Invited.
work.
Yeah.
To work, and we're invited. There's something going on. I have never sat over Emily's house and watched Netflix. I've never went to Emily's house and just, sat around. We don't have those kinds of life. We don't go to each other's house. Even when I moved down to the city, so me and Michelle live closer, I had to call this chick 4 times before she let me to her house. Girl, I'm over here.
There yet.
I'm over here by the Dollar Tree.
You've been invited though.
Okay. Yes, and so I have now gone to Michelle's house
several times
and just sat down. And she's like, "Oh, I'm like, girl, I will sit on this throw with you. Okay, I'm good." So now it doesn't take as much effort. Before, when I had so much kids and obligations and all those things, everything had to be super scheduled. Now I am on. You busy? And it's throwing my friends off. Like,
but being intentional doesn't.
You want to
also,
come here?
It doesn't mean planning. Being intentional doesn't always mean planning. Being intentional is are you intentionally treating that person so that they feel loved and they feel accepted and they feel safe with you. That's intentionality. Sometimes it does require planning. Our relationship is no longer in that planning stage. See, there was a time that we had to be intentional in planning to build to where we are now.
Yeah.
But we're not that. Now, our intentionality would be more so like, okay, I heard Michelle is sick. Okay. I'm going to be intentional to make sure that before this day is out, I know I'm working. I know I have kids. I know Jeremiah has soccer. I know. But guess what? I'm going to make sure that before this day, I call her and see if she needs anything. If she needs for me to cook her a pot of soup or whatever. Yeah. Because that is my, way of, or Uber it or whatever, But that
Ollie out had done that for me.
Yes.
Emily, how many times did you have to go back to the grocery store to get
pharmacy, whatever it was?
Well, y'all live 2 minutes away from each other now.
But she had they made her wait.
Yeah, that's what intentional means when it comes to relationships. Because if we ever feel like we have arrived and we were like, it shouldn't be that hard to be, in a relationship. People say that all the time. Well, if you put in the work in the front end, it may not have to be that in the back end,
Girl, but, that's a word right there.
So, but it does take work. Anything worth having takes work. And if you're not working intentional about it, be careful, because one day you might wake up. Yeah. And you won't even know why it's not there anymore. Yeah. Why your friend is not there anymore. Why your spouse is not there. Why your child. So relationships, yes. At 40, you have to. Yeah. Because when we're young, we're so, everything is fun. We go to the club.
Meet us at the club.
Yeah, 40 is like, okay, how do we sustain this relationship?
Like, girl, what we eating at today?
Oh, come over, Yeah. So it's different. Our relationship has evolved. It really has evolved
in a very good way. I think.
Very good way.
I mean, and as you guys have listened to all of the podcasts, it didn't happen instantaneously. It was a progression, and I think that we're still progressing, But what about your friendships outside of us, though? Do you guys nurture those? Do you do the same thing?
Yeah. It's not.
I mean, this one don't have no friendships outside.
I'm like,
for me, for me, I've had the same friends. I mean, I think you gotta be that 20-year mark. I don't have nothing under 20 years, because you're an associate. Because you can't use.
No, you're a customer.
Yeah. So I mean,
sorry.
And my thing is, sometimes with friends, you need to understand that life is still moving on. So, boo, if I don't talk to you this week, if I send you a text, or whatever. I still love you. I
Mhm.
got a girlfriend in Louisiana. We may go for months without talking to each other. She may call me. She's like, "Chick, what you doing?" She's like, "I got a event." Oh, okay, hold on, wait. Let me put myself food in the thing. All right, go. And whatever. And we just pick up where we
Let me get
lost
this
off.
Bluetooth so everybody.
Right. And we just pick up right where we left off. Wherever we left off. So I mean, I just feel like
For me, there's some reevaluations of some of those friends that I've had outside of Shades, and some of those reevaluations meant that some of them I'm not friends with them, but in a good way. Not that they were toxic or anything else. It was just we're not going there, as you said, Michelle. We're not going in the same direction or even halfway there. So I don't need that. I don't need that, or I don't need that kind of relationship. I will say I've picked up 2 friends.
New friends?
New friends?
No, they're not
picking up friends.
When I say that,
At the same place, she got that 70-year-old.
They're not. Friend. But I mean that they're not. They're
Ooh,
2
that's
friends,
funny.
meaning that they've been integral in the last 7 years. So to me, that's new. Because y'all ain't new. Just
Right.
saying.
Right. I want to talk about self-reflection. If there was something that your 20-year-old self thought that is different now that you're over 40, that you would tell someone else who's in their 20s, what would it be?
don't rush life. Take your time.
Mm.
That's what I tell Lana all the time. Take your time. Don't be in a rush. Take your time.
Enjoy those moments, right?
It's gonna happen. I promise you, it's gonna happen. Take your time.
Mine would be don't sit on the sidelines. If you say that you want to do something, actually work towards what that thing is that you want to do, and don't look up 20 years later and you're the one saying, yeah, I had a chance to do that, but I didn't do it because. No excuses, but definitely don't sit on the sidelines.
China, you got something?
Give yourself grace.
Y'all are preaching today. Okay. Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace. You're awesome. It's okay.
Yeah.
My 20-year-old self. What would I tell my 20-year-old self?
Well, something that you thought when you were 20 years ago.
Oh, that's a good.
I was in a relationship. I was married previously, and the moment I realized I was worth it, I sold my house, packed up a U-Haul, and moved to a state I've never been to, and now I'm in Georgia because I realized I'm worth it. Like I'm worth this, because we attach ourselves at 20. We always feel like everything is the end of the world. This decision is that if I get a divorce, who's going to want me? I was 20. Do you know I was some good hot stuff at 20?
Good hot stuff.
What? At 20, I had just given my life to Christ too.
Yeah.
I was like, look. But at that point, sometimes, we look at these kids like, how do you feel that it's the end of the world? Why do you think suicide? Because sometimes when you're making certain decisions, you really feel like, if I don't stick through this, that's it. That's it. What was I thinking at 20 years old that if I left that marriage, well, he actually, I don't know who left who, but I really felt, but I think I am 27. No, I was 20. Well, I was in my early 20s. I was still here. I was here at 20. And when I realized it was worth it, and God's got me.
Yeah.
God, come on now.
God's
got me. Come on with the hat.
I'm order you one, girl.
Please order me one.
Order you one.
When I realized that, then it just fell into part. And I want my younger generation, our younger daughters and sons and nieces and nephews to know you are worth it.
I like that. Now, when I was in my 20s, I was kind of ahead of time. So like I was in college at 16, I stayed there for 4 or 5 years. So when I came out, all of my friends have always been a little bit older. But I used to always think that I had time for everything. Like, for instance, you tell your daughter, which is rightfully so, don't rush it, just chill. You know what I mean? But I would tell my advice to somebody else's 20-year-old would be to act as if you don't have time.
Like live your life now.
If you want to
Do it.
open a business, just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Write out the plan, just go do it. Because I feel like when I was 20, I had to have this whole ass business plan. I had to have this. I had to have that. I had to have the money. I had
That's
to.
what they told us.
And then you looked up and
Years
you
have
40,
passed.
and years have passed, right? So I would. My advice would be, and what I tell my daughter is to act as if you don't have time.
The blessing that your daughter has is she has you. So my thing, like my kids, they have me. My kids, they're not being rushed to be out the house.
Right.
And that's one thing. The reason why I left. So this is the thing. When I left Connecticut, I had a home in Waterbury, Connecticut.
That's what Monty said.
I packed Waterbury. I packed up my stuff, moved myself to a state I had never been to. Okay. And I did it because I knew if anything happened, I still have 452 Logan Street to go to.
Yeah.
My parents, my brownstone in Brooklyn, New York, I knew I had. So my thing is, Emily, what do you have to lose? If you lose everything, you still have homes. And that is such a blessing that your daughter has that.
Yeah.
That is such a blessing.
And that's how I want her to move. Like, don't just feel like you got to wait until you're done with law school to open up a side business as a paralegal. Don't feel like you got to wait until, you know what I'm saying, you get a big job at a corporate. Well, go on to start yours, honey. Esquire. Haley Marie Esquire. You know, you're an attorney. Once you pass the bar, you're an attorney. You don't have to work for a big law firm or whatever. You can have things for yourself if that's what you want to do, right? But don't sit on it. Wait, because I've told this to Emily, and I think I've told this to Sheba. God gives you visions for your life, but you're not the only one he's giving it to.
Absolutely not, baby.
He gonna give it to you. He gonna say, okay, I'm gonna let you have it, okay, but I'm gonna give her the same one, and see what happens.
But that's what he did in the Bible when he gave you those gifts. What did you do with the gift?
What did you do with it?
Did you bury it?
Did you hide it? Bury it?
Did you
give it away, or did you invest it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I love that. I think this episode was very needed because I know individuals who are over 40 and they are struggling. They're struggling to understand who they are. They're struggling to understand what their purpose and their passion is. So I think that every single topic that we discussed today will help a person like that who is struggling in just being and navigating life over 40. All right. So I'm like China. I'm so glad that everybody came out today. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for another episode of S.H.A.D.E.S Talks.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I want to take a picture of it.
Oh, okay.
Hold on one second. It didn't end?
No, you didn't end the recording yet.
I thought I had it.
There you go.